Hello, Stephen Koukoulas here, Zagga's Economist in residence, and this is the Zagga update on where the economy is going and what might be ahead in the second half of 2024. Well, there's no doubt that the economy is slowing down. We know that retail sales are very weak, consumer sentiment's weak, and that is a sort of a key engine of where the economy is going. And clearly, cost of living pressures, the interest rate hikes that we've seen already have fed into us consumers hunkering down on our spending, and that's not going to change anytime soon. So we know that consumer household spending will be reasonably weak over the second half of this year. What's a little bit worrying is that the business side of the economy, which had been really resilient. So in earlier videos, I noted that things like business investment was holding up quite well. Well, we know from the NAB survey that that's starting to weaken, not to a really worrying level yet, but the direction is quite clear, down, and that's a concern. The other thing which is sort of encouraging, and I'll only say sort of because I'm not yet convinced, is that we did see a little bit of positive news from the building approvals numbers. They edged up 5.5% in the month of May, albeit from an 11-year low. So that's why I'm not getting excited just yet. But it's nice to see the building approvals numbers with a plus sign in them. We know that the federal government, along with the state and local governments, are trying their darndest to get new construction happening, because we know there's a shortage of dwellings, be it apartments, townhouses, freestanding dwellings, you name it. There's a shortage of it in just about in every capital city as well. So they're trying to get that 1.2 million dwellings built over the next 5 years. It's certainly ambitious. I wish them well, but you've got to start the process of getting towards that level, even if you don't actually hit that target. It'd be nice to see us getting near the target at a time when we, as I mentioned, have that shortage of dwellings. The other issue is inflation, of course. Well, we've got the inflation numbers coming out at the end of July. They'll be important, of course, for the Reserve Bank, who meet in early August. So we've got that situation where inflation has come down. There's month-to-month volatility. Just look at your petrol price and some, fruit and veggie prices. They jump up and down according to the season. But the trend is still low. The RBA is still confident about that. And even though we saw a zig, if I can borrow the terminology, up in the month of May, we're almost certainly going to see a zag down in June and July. We know that the electricity subsidies that are going to be paid will slice at least 0.5 percentage point off your annual inflation rate. So they're coming through in the September quarter. So the RBA's probably on hold. They're probably going to keep rates steady, and the debate will continue. Should they put them up? Should they put them down? So I think the simplest thing to say is that they're probably going to keep them on hold. A couple of other minor positives, and I don't want to overstate it or understate it, but income tax cuts were paid from the 1st of July, $23 billion over the course of the current financial year. So that's a chunky amount of money that's being injected into the economy via tax cuts. I hope you've got your tax cut coming through your paycheck too. It's nice to see an extra few dollars in there. Surveys are suggesting that, over half the people are either going to use that tax cut to meet their mortgage repayments or to meet the higher rent that they're paying. Another quarter or thereabouts are going to be bumping that money into their savings, so probably not adding much to the economy, and only about a quarter of that money will actually be seen going into additional spending. We'll wait and see what happens, but again, it's just a slightly positive thing. I don't want to be all gloomy that's happening with the income tax cuts come through. So that's it for this month. Look forward to talking to Zagga and its wonderful clients over the course of the remainder of the second half of this year. But in summary, economy weak now, probably staying weakish but not deteriorating more, and just a snippet of news on building starts and income tax cuts to just put a little bit of optimism into the medium-term outlook. Thanks very much.